Hello everybody, welcome to the Vertebrea, and for you returning viewers, welcome back. Tonight I have a bit of an experimental piece to read you. It's called The Machine. This story contains descriptions of bodily mutilation. Viewer discretion is advised. The machine stood 10 stories high and 6 by 6 miles at the base. Great and terrible in its construction, it sat surrounded by rolling hills covered in brown, dead grass. The steel lattices and concrete towers of the machine were all enclosed by a 30-foot-high concrete wall. There were no normal means of entry into the machine, no loading bay or export depots, no doors for workers to enter. The only means of entry is a railway tunnel that dipped underground 60 yards before the wall. This served as the only way to enter the machine. I say enter and not exit, because there is no leaving the machine once you enter. Just as when something passes the event horizon of a black hole, it can never leave. Anything that entered the concrete walls never left. Even still, this property did not stop the destitute and broken from entering the machine to escape their sorrowful lives. Many a man would descend into the railway tunnel or hitch a ride on one of the trains bound for the machine, never to be seen again. The machine is feared by all in sound mind, and the sane and stable steer well clear of its campus. The reason for the public's avoidance of the machine is partially on account of the hellish din that radiates from the campus. When within a distance of 100 yards, the sound of machines grinding and metal slamming together drowns out all else. The sounds of human misery in its rawest form scream in harmony with the sounds of industry. Crying, coughing, moaning, and screaming can be heard at all hours of the day. The state of the people within the machine can be inferred but never known, for the inside of the machine has never been observed and relayed to the outside world. The only people who know what the inside looks like are doomed to die there. We do know several things for certain, however. The machine imports material from trains that seemingly appear from nowhere and disappear once they pass through the tunnel. Even though the machine imports material in inordinate quantities, it has never exported any goods that we know of. No products flow out of the tunnel. No trains filled with goods ever leave the campus. To an outside observer, the machine does nothing at all. But still, conjecture fueled by the machine's excretions run wild. Large pipes pump thick, black, liquid poison over the southern wall. These chemical waterfalls serve as the sources for several streams that drain into a large lake. The lake's surface is as black as night and radiates gray and green fumes into the air. It harbors no life. No fish swim within it. No algae grows. As a matter of fact, an area of 40 acres surrounding the lake's edge is completely devoid of life, including the sickly brown grass that grows around the entire region. The machine consistently pumps large plumes of gray and brown smog into the air from its many smokestacks and chimneys. These fumes form brown clouds high in the sky and turn the morning dew an orangish-black color. The most vile of the machine's excretions were the contents of the graveyard west of the campus. The term graveyard is inaccurate. Graveyard implies hollowed ground and respectful markers commemorating the dead. This place contains no headstones, just plots of raw earth dotting the brown grass. This place is not a graveyard but a dumping ground, yet another means to the machine's mysterious ends. The graves themselves appear spontaneously. 1 second just brown grass, the next a plot of raw earth, 7 by 4 feet. Several times the corpses within the graves have been exhumed for study. Such practices quickly ceased on account of the state of the cadavers. Metal braces ran over limbs, bolted through the flesh and into the bone. These braces were attached to motors taking the place of joints. The motors had been disassembled for study, but this examination yielded more questions than answers. The exterior of the motors were entirely metallic, but the inside was an illogical combination of muscle, nerves, wires, and gears. The faces of most were covered in metal plate and analog measuring devices grafted over the skin. The ones with intact faces had a terrified, pained expression frozen into their dead flesh. The flesh itself never rotted. It stayed pale gray, cold, and intact indefinitely. Some believe the flesh remains untouched because the blood of the machine's victims is replaced with some sort of antibacterial fluid. The other rational people believe the bodies themselves are accursed, and the plague refuses to consume them. In keeping with the mystery of the machine's workings, no one quite knows where it came from and when it appeared. It seemingly has always been here, dormant, waiting for the right time to spring to life. The machine's strange workings and continuous consumption of resources has prompted many governments and armies to attempt to destroy the machine. Bombings proved fruitless. Any damage sustained was repaired within the hour. Infantry invasion wasn't just fruitless, it was disastrous. Wave after wave of soldiers climbed over the walls, never to be seen again, based on the screaming and crying that could be heard for days after the unsuccessful invasion. It can be assumed that the machine rid itself of the invaders with mechanical efficiency. The machine is not closed to the public. You can walk up to the walls and touch the smooth concrete with no resistance. However, nobody in their right mind voluntarily gets in the proximity of the machine, not just because of the aforementioned properties, but also because going too close to the machine produces nightmares that haunt a person for weeks. The machine may even be a misnomer. The machine does not fulfill the requirements to be considered a machine. As far as we know, the machine does not produce more than the sum of its parts. Even though we don't know the parts that make up the machine, we do know it does not produce anything perceivable to humans, though admittedly, we do not know what the machine does at all. I've dedicated my life to studying the machine. Ever since I heard about it years ago as a young man, I've made it my life's work to find out what the mysterious campus in the rolling hills does. All my years of study has yielded almost no new tangible information. Every account of someone entering the machine then escaping has turned out to be a lie. Every artifact that was supposedly recovered from inside the machine has proven to be counterfeit. Even with the efforts of people like me who dedicate themselves to studying the machine, we are no closer to knowing its purpose or origins. This piece was quite fun to write. I took a lot of inspiration from The Red Tower. It's a great read, so go check it out. I would like to now thank everyone for their kind words and feedback on the Disciples of the Archangels. It means the world to me. I would also like to say big things are coming soon, so be on the lookout. As always, I've been your host, JD McBride. Good night.